Say hello to Carl Craven and his significant other, both residents of one of the gay meccas of the country, Washington, D.C. Anyway, Carl and his fella decided they would take a little stroll through Washington, D.C., going from one club to another just the other night. Here's the neighborhood they were in, the 1000 block of U Street. It looks kind of like a gentrified neighborhood. You see all these nice things there, but you see a lot of for lease signs as well. So you see a lot of nice buildings. You see a lot of sketchy buildings. You see a lot of sketchy characters. That did not put off Carl and his buddy that night when they were deciding, well, you know what? We could walk around this neighborhood, no problem whatsoever, even though it is pretty close to a lot of fellas, because we're down with the cause. The cause is going to be down with us. We like the fellas like us. After all, we're members of a protected class. They're members of a protected class. Aren't we all in this oppressed minority thing together? Of course we are. Well, that's when this happened. From the Washington Gay Blade, 3 attacked an anti-gay attack in Washington. Here's the narrative. He was leaning against me, and a few guys started yelling faggot at him and started to swing at him, wrote Craven. It was all a quick blur, but the next thing you know, there were literally a mob of 15 guys beating him. They came out of nowhere, and I was powerless to stop them. All I could do was jump on him to try to protect him and scream help. I don't remember how long they kept beating him for. They stole his phone and my wallet. They chipped a major part of his front tooth, and he had to get multiple stitches on his lip. They posted something on a GoFundMe page. They had a $10,000 goal, which they raised in less than 24 hours. They've arrested, if you read the front of the story, all it says is, well, they've arrested 3 people. Then you read down further, and all of a sudden we learned there were 15 people there. And this newspaper reminds us of a few more attacks on gay people in Washington, D.C. We've done a bunch of stories on gay violence in Washington, D.C. But the thing that always strikes me the most about it is how much the gay people, members of that protected class, how much they give the fellas a pass. If you look at the comments on the GoFundMe page, you'll see that everybody's wishing well, everybody's giving them money because they're all pissed off, but nobody's really saying, hey, what's up with all this black on gay violence, not just in Washington, D.C., but around the rest of the country? Hell, even Joe Biden got in on the violence and denial. What was it, a couple weeks ago he was giving a speech, and all of a sudden he dropped into a whispered tone. He reminded people that 5 to 10 black transgender women had been murdered this year. And he whispered, we've got to do better, folks. And of course, the prescription for them doing better was to get rid of Trump. And as soon as we get rid of Trump, that means all the black people will stop attacking gay people all over the country. Hey, it makes sense to me. But I couldn't help but think of a story we just did in Philadelphia. I thought we were done with that story since we did the first day, the second day, and the third day story. The first day story, it's nothing much, just a bunch of fellas. Then we learned it was a gay, attack on a gay guy on a gay pride day. And the third day story was Janice Armstrong declaring it had nothing to do with race. It was all just about a bunch of teenagers who were, had maybe just a lapse in judgment. And then she went on to commend this guy, the guy we're about to meet, another gay victim of black mob violence in Washington, D.C. just a few days ago. She commended him for understanding that these fellas that go around attacking gay people, they don't need jail cells. They don't need punitive judgments. They don't need judgments of any kind. What they need is love and understanding and someone to talk to.
Streets of Old City, a group of teens attacked a man and tried to steal his backpack. The kids broke his jaw and got away with nothing. Now they're running free, nothing stopping them from doing it again. Fox 29's Shawnette Wilson live in Old City tonight. Shawnette.
Well, Shayna, picture the victim walking along this very block of Chestnut Street when he's punched in the face and knocked to the ground. Under doctor's orders, he's on a liquid diet right now for about a month to avoid having his jaw wired shut. But tonight, he did talk to me. He wants others to be aware of what happened.
Fractured mandible, my lower jaw, fractured cheekbone under my left eye, and the nasal bone here was also fractured, 2 stitches here, and bruising and cuts throughout my body.
His bruises tell one story, but the words from his mouth tell a very different one.
I do not wish ill will on these individuals. I do not wish to dehumanize them. They are people. Something caused them to do this.
32-year-old Rizzo Mertz calls himself an eternal optimist, even after the vicious attack he suffered.
I can't let this get me down. There's enough people afraid as it is.
Philadelphia police released this video from a business security camera on Chestnut Street in Old City. They say it shows a group of teens in the moments before they attacked Rizzo along the 300 block of Chestnut Street.
Sucker punched me in the left side of the face, resulting in a stitch. After that, the other males in the group set upon me or knocked me down to the ground where I had abrasions on my my elbows, my hands, my knees.
He says it was around 12:30 Monday morning. He was leaving a friend at Society Hill Hotel after Pride Day in the city. Rizzo wants to stress he doesn't think the act was a hate crime.
I firmly believe it was a random act. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. This could have happened to anybody.
2 days after the attack, he's wearing a shirt that says violence is not strength. And he says what happened hasn't scarred him.
Nothing will break my spirit when it comes to my faith in humanity and my faith in Philadelphia.
So when I was writing White Girl Bleed a lot, I was writing all these stories about black on gay violence, and I was just astonished at the indifference to it. So I was, at the time, I was subscribing to a service, a media list service. So I went in there and I said, okay, bing, 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 give me a list of every self-identified gay reporter in America. 350 of them. I sent them all a letter on email. Easy to do. Sent them all an email going, hey, I'm writing the story about this and that and this and that. Why aren't gay people more pissed off that they are victims of relentless black violence? I mean, surely you guys must have known what Don Lemon, this famous CNN gay black anchor said. He said that in the black community, being gay is the worst thing you can be. And every story written about it, about gay black people, talks about the relentless harassment, torture, assault, and even murder that black gay people experience among gay people. It's not white people hunting black gay people. It's black people hunting black gay people.
Please, sir. I want some more.
What? Of all the gay people I contacted, I didn't get really many responses. Probably of the 10 I got, probably half of them were said something like, yeah, you're a bad person for noticing. Probably another chunk of that 10 said, it's not really happening. Then the other chunk said, yeah, it's happening, but what are you going to do? I mean, we've done tons and tons of stories on this recently. I'm thinking of a neighborhood in Dallas, a gay neighborhood in Dallas, where black on gay violence now is a thing. It's just a part of living there, just like the park is, just like the Starbucks is. When you move into that neighborhood and go walk your doggy at night, you're taking your life into your hands. But search the literature. You won't find anybody going, hey, what's up with that? No, all you get is people like Joe Biden coming out and going, yeah, it's Trump's fault. So the protected class gives the other protected class a pass, and now more and more people show up with ridiculous victims of ridiculous levels of violence, and everybody looks around going, man, how did this happen? How did we ever let that happen? We got to stop this. All we got to do is just pretend it never happened. Because drawing attention to the relentless level of black on gay violence, which is also reflected in lots and lots of lyrics and lots of hip-hop songs, this black on gay hostility and violence, drawing attention to that, well, you probably don't want to do that, because that's going to make the black kids angry.